Welcome back. Welcome in. Back by popular demand. To our left, the man, Coach Kyle Caskey, offensive coordinator for the Denham Springs Yellow Jackets. Great resume in college and NFL. Back with us, breaking down LSU and NFL film for us. We'll also talk a little recruiting with him at time, but he is back here to talk nothing but football. Football at a 4,000 level is kind of how we say it. This is kind of the senior year of football. We're talking 101 stuff on the morning show with Culotta, on the Culotta show. This is more of the 4,000 level stuff. Coach, it's good to see you. How are you, man?
Man, it's good. And again, you know, when you say I'm the offensive coordinator at Denham Springs, it's pretty crazy to be around these high school kids now and seeing that there's a rawness to them and being able to really take the coaching and do that. Now, I've learned I've got to control my aggression, I guess, at times, and what I'm saying. They've heard me say some things I probably shouldn't have said, but I think they understand where I'm coming from.
Sure.
But it's one of those things where, I've taken my football knowledge and married it in there with the other coaches that we have, and trying to get these players to play at a higher level.
Yeah, and I know Coach Brett Beard is got to be loving what he sees on offense. So 3 straight weeks at 40-plus points.
Yeah, we had a rough start to it, and he gives me a hard time about that. We scored 7 in the first game, but then it was 44, 40, and 53. And some of that last week, actually, Deshaun McBride had a pick 6, so I consider him an offensive player now. So he was just moonlighting on defense over there, playing safety. Not that, he's not a commit to LSU, I guess, as a safety. We're trying to, convince him he's a receiver too. So.
Yeah. Well, let's jump into it. Everybody is anxious to hear what the film has told you and how you can kind of break it down for our listeners. You've shown that you can do that as good as anybody out there. So let's jump right into where do you want to start?
Start with the defense, and I'm really just going to go. This is game flow for us right here. So we're going to just flow with the game. One of the things that as a coordinator you look at and you say during the week, okay, we have an issue here. We have 6 blockers really, and you could say 7 blockers if you consider the quarterback reading a defender. But you also say, well, we can run bubble routes with our receivers. And why do they run bubbles? Well, it's if you have too many men in the box here to run against. Sometimes you look here, look at the distance that LSU is giving Arkansas for this. So quarterback looks over and he says, hey, I'm good here. I want to go. Jefferson looks over and goes, well, I got to throw it. Well, that was a heck of a break right there. And this is Andre Sam. Now he's a transfer from Marshall, if I'm not mistaken.
That's
correct?
Right. That's right.
And what blows my mind is that there's kids playing at Marshall that can come and start at a place like LSU, which, I mean, nothing. That's not a knock on Marshall. It's just crazy that there's that much talent out there. But if you look where he was and where he hits him right on the line of scrimmage. But look where he was at the snap of the ball, and this is why the quarterback threw this over here. At the snap of the ball, he's behind the yellow line. He's still behind. He's off the screen right now, and then you can see he comes flying in, and so that was a heck of a play by him. And there's a back shot here that shows you what the quarterback sees. The quarterback sees that. So you think he's blocking out here. He's blocking. I'm just going to throw him the ball right here, and we should be able to get yardage. Well, the problem with that is when your safety's able to break on the ball, he throws it a little high, and it's a good play. So that's how they started the game right there. Now, this is a man coverage 5-man pressure, all right? And they've got a thief spy on this. Is what I mean by this is they're really playing cover 1. So they're gonna play this safety is gonna go deep. They're playing man on these guys. They're playing man here, and really they're playing man on the back with a guy that's blitzing here. He's just adding on now. They're bringing Andre Sam down in here, and he's really the thief or robber player playing this area right here, kind of taking that middle way. But he's also spying on Jefferson. So when you watch him, he'll mirror the quarterback. Well, he gets out of this now. Here's the issue. He got his ankles broken by this. Now, there's a lot of things I want to talk to you about on this rush. When you have a mobile quarterback here, you don't want to spend time rushing past the quarterback. If you rush past the quarterback, he's going to step up. If you watch the great rushers, they'll rush, and then wherever the quarterback gets to, once they get to that level, then they level off. and they'll level off, and then that keeps these guys that are in their rush lanes able to keep him in the pocket. Well, as you see here, yeah, he pancakes the lineman, but then you've got two guys outside here. Well, if you've got two guys outside, that means there's openings on the inside. And now most quarterbacks probably get tackled at this point, but he pulls out of this. And then, yes, you've got your spy right here, but if your spy comes out and gets his ankles broken, it doesn't help out. So, again, rush lanes, and LSU's not the only team having issues with this. If you go watch the NFL, there's a lot of NFL teams that have rush lane issues. I want you to keep an eye on this play, because this play will come back up later in the game. They're going to end up running they're going to try to slide this tight end back behind the line. They're going to run this tight end up like on a corner. I think they actually ran him in on this one. But they're trying to kind of pick off the guy that is covering him from this side. So it's just almost like a naked, but as you see, he's going to run across here. They fake. You got a guy running up in here, and he's really just kind of doing a little pick. And, yeah, they catch the ball. Now, this is a crucial play in the game. What was the final score of the game?
Yeah, three-point
game,
difference.
right? This actually kept Arkansas out of the end zone. So that play right there, and I mean, again, is he across the line? No. But that play right there to knock him back, that right there saved 4 points, and they won by 3. Wow. So the point is like you never know when this happens, because the next play, I don't have it on here, but the very next play, Arkansas false started. They were going to just run it in. They false started, so they got knocked back, and then they were held to a field goal. And those are the kind of plays right there. But I want you to keep that play in mind where that tight end came across like that, because that play is going to show back up later in the game. Now, this is the interception. And this is a deep cross, and I'll show you this from a different angle here. But what they're running here. Let me get this back to the sideline here. What they're going to run here is they're running a crossing route here, and they're just running kind of a clear out. What's going to happen is the safety is going to drop back, and when the safety drops back, he kind of hangs out back here in the back. Well, this receiver doesn't flatten it off like he needs to, and if he flattens it off, it's probably dropped in there, and it's a completion. But if you watch here, the receiver that's crossing from the top, when you see it get thrown, see, he kept kind of moving on this angle. If he just did this, now the safety broke on the ball, makes a really, really nice play, and that's how you get the excitement on the sideline down there. You can see it from this angle right here. At this point, when you have a safety sitting right there, if you're the receiver, you want to come over here and you want to flatten that across so that you don't run into that safety right there. But see how he keeps kind of going on that angle right there, and it allows the safety to undercut him. And that was a good play by I believe that was Sam again. And I mean, that guy really had a pretty good game. Yeah. I'm not sure what his stats were in the game, but I think that kid was playing. Again, this is a bubble throw versus a blitz. Now, this is where the Tigers need to get something fixed, okay? Because you've heard of vicing something, right? You got inside, you got outside, and you got somebody over the top. So what they're going to do is they're going to blitz right here. And you'll see here blitzing off the edge, which is fine. But that's why you have these little bubble routes. So you throw the bubble into the blitz. All right, you've got a guy blocking. Now you've got an outside defender, vice. You got an inside defender, Major Burns, going to come here and vice on the inside. This guy's already fallen down because he overran it. And then watch what Major Burns does. He overruns it. So now the guy who's your inside vice didn't push it back out to your outside vice. Your outside vice fell down, and now you're off to the races. So is that something that is a schematic problem? I don't think that's a schematic problem. I think that's a fundamental problem right there. They have to just obviously stay on their feet. Now, was the turf wet? I don't remember it raining on Saturday, but sometimes it gets slick out there. I get it, but that right there, when you're trying to make too much happen, just keep your leverage here, and then again, you've got guys like he fell down, but he was getting up. You could have made that play, and then obviously it ends up being a much bigger play than it needed to be. Arkansas was really getting into throwing these backside. Actually, I believe this was actually running. So they're running the ball this way. So what they're doing is they're going to run a post route, like a little skinny post right here, kind of like almost a glance, if you want to call it. And they're looking at this defender right here, and then it's really the guy in that area right there. And if he steps up for run, you throw it right here behind him because you got to cover 3 corner and a safety that's already back here in the back end. And you can see they were really taking advantage of that. Now, some of these throws by Jefferson, I mean, he's getting it to him, don't get me wrong, but his receivers had to make some pretty good plays too. But you can see this from another angle. When you run the ball right at a guy, like they're running right here, and he's going to step up. Is that Perkins? I believe that is Perkins. But he's going to step up, play the run, and it allows him to get right in behind. There's a voided area, and that's a run-pass option that is it's not a pull run-pass option. It is a true, like we're running the ball or we're throwing it, and that can take the place of your play-action game. That could be your play-action game. But, again, that's kind of, some of those throws, Arkansas's receivers were, having to make some pretty good plays to, kind of keep them alive in this game. All right, now this is an interesting play with it's an RP. It's not an RPO, but it's a run read with a backside fold, and I'll show you this from the backside, the back end of this. It's pretty cool design because they're going to run a play right here where they're going to rewind that a little bit. They're actually going to run like a zone on the front side, run him here. They're going to block him here and then pull him out here, and this guy is unblocked. So the quarterback, if you watch his eyes, he's reading directly on this inside backer. So why do you do that to a team like LSU? Well, it allows you right now to get bodies, bigger bodies, stronger bodies on guys like Perkins, guys like Mekhi Wingo, and all these guys inside. It allows you to not have to worry about putting, reading Perkins or whatever the case is, but you actually get a big body on him and you allow him to run himself out of it. So he runs himself out of the play. You got a guy blocking here, a guy blocking here, and now there's a lane here because if 30 would have stayed back here, you hand the ball off. So that's the whole point of that read play right there. And you can see right there it's a pretty good size hole. And you always tell your team if you can get onto the deep safety, that's a win for the run game. Like you're not going to block they're deep safeties for a reason. And the quarterback, obviously, nobody really accounts for the quarterback. But when he runs the ball, you kind of have 11 on 11 now. You don't, if you hand the ball off, or you throw it, it's 10 on 11. But with this, they're creating ways to get 11 on 11. And LSU was doing some of this stuff too with Daniels, but that's that's a well-designed play. But by what they were doing. Now, again, I mentioned earlier about rushing past the quarterback. Now, this is kind of an odd thing because you got Perkins right here, and I think they've got everything they want. They overloaded the front to this side. There's Perkins one-on-one with a tackle. Problem is this tackle shuts him down pretty good, but you get him right there. Now, watch the rest of the rush. See how he rushes past the quarterback? All right, and then they get pushed over here, and there's a lane in there. So you can't – right here, he's got to stop and – kind of condense back the pocket and not allow him to be able to step up because the amount of time that he had right there, he was able to find his check down. All that was a check down he throws over here. But with them rushing past the quarterback like this, it really was it was just a way for them to gain time. When in all reality, if they just condense the pocket, especially on a quarterback that is able to, because right here, see how they rushed over here. Now he's outside past the pocket. There's a huge gap right there, and those are the kind of rush lanes. They got to learn to stay in the rush lanes, and those are the rush lanes that they got to clean up. And again, it's just a simple. It's not the back check down, but it's a simple, scramble check down there. Now, again, we were talking about RPOs. Now this is a duo run play, so they're just running straight ahead right here. But again, they're going to read this area. And if these guys play down, they're going to throw a post in right behind them here. And this is one of those things that the LSU defense has got to start being aware of, is that you're leaving a pretty good sized void back there, and good quarterbacks are going to tear you apart with those backside voids. So quarterback right here, you can see his eyes. He's looking right here. You can see he's not looking at the ball. He's not looking at, his eyes are here. So when he sees him step down, this guy's going to come in. Look at all that space in there behind. That's what he sees. He sees that space, and he knows this guy's about to run into that space. And that's where he holds the ball long enough. And you're going to take a hit every once in a while on these. And if you look right here, Jefferson's got people at his feet. They're on him because it's a run play. But again, you just got to and there's a picture of a guy up in a booth. Find where I was at here. All right, so this is just a basic go route, all right, towards the back pylon. This is on Denver Harris. I believe he got called for DPI. And again, this is towards the end of the half. But that's tough. And I know Denver Harris is young, and I know he's kind of still coming into his own, I guess, if you want to say. But you can't just go tackling the receivers in the end zone. You got to keep your position on them. But the catch this kid made, but if he doesn't make this catch, they're still getting the ball down pretty close. I'm not sure if that's a 2-yard line spot or not, but this was inside 2 minutes, and the kid, you can see they called it incomplete, but the kid ended up pulling it in. So that was right before the half. And then again, you're talking about a 3-point game when it was all said and done. All right, so moving into the third quarter, this is just a simple stutter. They're going to pull a guard, and they're going to pull a tight end, and it's a simple RPO again. I've shown you all this already twice, but it's a simple RPO that they're going to try to just throw right behind it. And again, if the linebackers or the safeties step up and you got too many guys in the box for the run, you throw the pass. So you can see right here, these guys right here, they step up and they don't drop back into this gap here. There's a big void, and that's where they're trying to throw the ball. So as you see, and the LSU defensive coaches, I know are seeing this, but the voids, they've got to try to find a way to avoid the voids, and they got to find coverages that work for them, that allow that to be taken away. Now they still got to stop the run, and I think that's where a team like Arkansas that runs the ball as well as they do, you put more guys down there and you say beat us with the RPOs, but and there's teams that throw the ball more that you'll back off and say beat us with the run. So they decided they were selling out for the run in this game. This is a red zone sack. This was Deshaun Womack and Perkins. But if you watch here, this is what they do best. That's Perkins right there. This is what he does best. Again, it's the dip and rip. It's the come knock your teammate's helmet off in the process and get in there and cause havoc. They have reasoning for doing what they do. But when you have this kind of talent, and apparently you've got this kind of talent, I don't know a whole lot about this kid, true freshman, correct?
Stud, yeah.
And, he played 5 plays or something. I saw a stat line that he had like 3 tackles, a sack, and something else, and he played 5 snaps. That sounds like Harold Perkins from last year for like half the season. But again, you're talking about 2 guys like Perkins and Womack that why not just, do you have to wait until you're in third down? Do you have to wait until you're in a red zone pass situation to put those guys in those situations? Put them where they're going to cause havoc. And right there, that's causing havoc. And there's some big dudes inside. Makai Wingo, wearing that 18. Kind of looks like he stole his little. I know the whole 18 thing, but it kind of looks like he stole his little brother's jersey. Right there. And but that's causing some havoc. And that number 40, Weeks. I didn't know much about him, but the more I've watched that kid's all over the place. All over the place. All right, getting into the fourth quarter. Now this was a 59-yard touchdown here. All right, and this was really just a scramble drill. and it was a good rush. It was the rush was actually good here. You see how they didn't rush past the quarterback, but what happens is these two guys kind of picked each other off. And when he stepped up, you'll see it from the other angle. He just got lost. I believe Zai Alexander. So he gets lost. He just dropped the coverage. And this is when you're in a scramble drill, when the quarterback breaks the pocket and the play is over. All right. So you'll see here, they're really just running, like a sail route, which they ran a ton of. And there's not a whole lot else going on out here. And when it stops here, you'll see he's in coverage, and then he'll just take off down the sideline, which is what you're supposed to do. If you're the deep guy and there's an underneath guy, you take off, you work back or whatever it is, and you can see right there he just took off and just lost coverage. So does that go to scheme? Because apparently the scheme stopped the original play. At that point, it becomes the fundamental of scramble drill, the fundamental of stopping that broken play. So, there are some things that I think are issues, but there's some other things that I think are just fundamentally need to get fixed. And maybe it's the, a youth thing with some of those guys like Denver Harris, but some of these guys are older and have been playing for a while. This is a sail and go. And again, Mekhi Wingo here rushes past the quarterback again. See how he rushes past the quarterback, and then he can step up in there. And I've kind of made a theme of that in this breakdown. But you can see it. You can't see it from the other side, but they actually they could have had a touchdown here. He checked it down here. Now I think I've got this. But there's a guy running scot-free on the left of the screen as you see it here. I don't think I was able to get the replay of that one, but what they did was they ran him on a post, they ran him on like a sail and go, and this one they didn't cover it. And it was I think if Jefferson would have seen that, again, it would have been a big play. But again, the rushing pass, they say he doesn't have his eyes down on that side of the field, but they've just got to find a way to not let the broken plays be big plays. And then the last play I got from the defense, I remember I told you to remember that play from earlier. All right, remember that play where he ran to the flat and he ran like a little pick here that they stopped, that Major Burns hit him on the goal line and stopped him. Well, this is the exact same play in all reality. It's the same play, except this time they scored on it. So it's one of those things that, as a coach for Arkansas, they saw something when they got into this area of the field where they could, exploit this. Now, here's what happened on this. So they've got it. You can see how they're talking to each other right here on the edge. You'll see, watch right here. He's going to kind of start moving his hands, talking to the linebacker. See that? Like in and out, in and out. See how he's talking to him. They know what they're supposed to do. Now, number 9 runs by him. He should probably peel off with number 9, and then he adds on. But because they're both probably looking at the back and not number 9, because number 9 came from the opposite side. Number 9 was hidden back here. He came from the opposite side. He's probably not thinking about this guy. But in all reality, when that guy comes over there, he is the new number 1 now, and he should have peeled off on him most likely. But that, again, you can see right there that's just somebody should have peeled off with him coming across. But they saw something Arkansas did that allowed them to say, you know what, this is what we're going to do. So can you kick that off for me for a second, that, and I'll switch it over to the offense. But defensively, so I know on your show this morning, or I guess it was yesterday. I guess it was this morning, and your show yesterday too. You were talking about the defense and just lack of making plays, and it seems like they're a little off right now.
Yeah,
and it does seem that way. I'm not sure if it's the personnel. They got the personnel to do it. I think sometimes they, maybe they're outsmarting themselves again, like they did last year for a little while. But it seemed like last year around this time with, when especially the Arkansas games, what comes to mind from last year is when they went to Arkansas and Perkins just took over.
Yeah.
And I think that's when everybody went like,
Yeah, he's different.
okay, he's here.
Yeah.
But then like this year, I haven't really noticed him.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if that's that's because people are game planning now against him, because that can't happen now that they know he's there.
Right.
But is that what it is, or is it a fact that, like I said, you put him on the edge and let him rush, and it's like, bam, you're good. Well, let's move into the offense real quick. I've got some plays, and I'll show you. These are some good and some bad, but the bad, I can tell you, is easily fixable. So on this first play, Jaden Daniels kind of holds this RPO just a little long here, and you'll see here at the top, it's an RPO, and you see how he holds it and he just doesn't get it off. And I mean, it's almost a bad play. And this is early in the first quarter. I mean, this is like maybe the first play of the game right here. And you can't, if you're gonna hold an RPO like that, you better be ready to get hit. So point being is, those are easily correctable things on that one. So that's play number one. Everybody was probably like, man, that was a horrible throw. Now, I thought this was a bad throw, and I think everybody understands it. They're running like all goes here, but what they're doing here is Malik Neighbors going to run, and he's just going to come to a stop. So it's like a 9 stop, but it's a seam stop. And this guy's going to, you'll see from the replay, he's going to back out of there, and he's wide open right here, and he just doesn't step into the throw. And this throw is low. Now, should he have caught this pass? Probably, but it's one of those things where step into the throw and get it to him, and I don't know if it kind of hit him in the man parts right there, but you see how this guy ran off, and when he stopped, I mean, he has nobody on him, and all you got to do is put that ball on him, and you can see that ball's not anywhere near on him. Yeah. And that's not when you have that wide open of a guy at any level, especially the SEC level, you got to make that throw. And again, that's early on, and I think everybody kind of saw that. I don't think Jaden Daniels is having pregame jitters or anything. I mean, I don't think so. It seems like he's past that, but it's just like he couldn't get into a rhythm. Now, this is a sail route versus quarters. So when I say sail route, you'll see this. It'll be he's going to run off, and he's going to run in and kind of do this. And what's going to end up happening here, you'll see it from the. It's not a great throw, but it's on him. And see how he runs in. When he runs in, these guys kind of step in, and he breaks it back off to the sideline, and it allows him to have – I mean, there's nobody else in the picture here, and it just allows him to get into that area, and it's a good catch by him. But if you throw that ball a little higher, again, and this was early in the game too. I mean, this was mid-first quarter. Those are balls that I think those guys can catch and run with. Now, this was the interception, all right, and they're really running – kind of like a stick concept, a seam concept, and a hitch up top up here. And at the bottom, they're going to run an out, and they're going to run a go out here. Well, they're playing cover 2. And in cover 2, if you have an out route into cover 2, you got to remember there's another corner sitting out here. And he decided to throw this route right into a corner. Whereas up here, you can see at the top, when I play this, you had a couple of guys that were probably more open right here. And when I say more open, non-interceptable open. And he throws that right into a cloud corner. And it was kind of hard because the corner was off the screen right there. But that corner literally was just sitting there. And again, that just goes to, I'm not sure if he didn't – I can't say he didn't see him because the guy was standing – you can see it now. He was out here. You had this guy in here. And, yeah, there are little windows in between them, but not when he's running out into this guy. So he really should have thrown this to the other side of the field. But that interception happened. The good thing is, right after that interception happened, LSU intercepted the ball right back. So, like literally the next play. But you can see right there, that's not the side he should have picked. He should have thrown it up to the top of the screen when we first showed it. Cover 2, you'll have a few more openings in the kind of in the middle of the field to the left as you would have seen it. This was great pass protection. I'm only showing this because I want to show the pass protection now. This is Malik Neighbors makes a heck of a catch on this. But I want you to watch. This is John Emery back here. I know he's kind of been lost in the mix, but I want you to watch. This is something. This is a lot of growth for him. And I mean, he gets right up under this guy, and I mean that's a. I know people want to see him run the ball and do his thing, but from a professional coach's standpoint, like when we're scouting these guys, like you see that, and then you also see he can run the ball. I mean, that's impressive, and that's a heck of a catch by Malik Neighbors right here. When you watch this catch, it's just a 9-stop again. He's running a go route, and he just stops, and this guy is draped all over him. So that kid had a good game. I mean, it wasn't just the fact that he had yardage or whatever the case is, but now from this angle, I do want to point out these guys are still doing a good job up front. But if you watch here, they're doing this and trying to pick this guy back around. So you'll see John Emery will block these guys. These guys will then push back through all this trash and pick it up. I mean, that's a really, really good pickup by that line and allowed that play to happen. This was an underthrown ball to a wide open Brian Thomas. Now again, good pass protection. So you got to find the good and the bad. But look at the time he has to throw this. Now, when you see how wide open he was, and then you see how it's underthrown, yeah. I mean, you're giving him a chance to catch it, but he's got him beat. Like, throw it over the top and let him run under it, and it's a touchdown. It's just, you can tell he probably thought the same thing, but you can see right here, he's got like a step or two on him. And all you got to do is just put that ball over the top. And again, if you look at the plays that you've seen so far, it's a lot of underthrown balls and a lot of it's like he's pushing the ball. He's not really throwing it. So, and this is all first half. So whatever happened at halftime, I don't know if they went in there and, put the gun, the Theragun or what, Theragun to his shoulder or whatever, but they did something to him at halftime. Now, this was a read zone versus a blitz. All right. So when you're blitzing, so these guys are all going in here. You're told when they blitz and it's a keep or hand off play, hand it off. You're told that. That's kind of like, because right now this guy's going to be running right into you as a quarterback. So when they do this, you can see though, the offensive line, see how they stopped the penetration and they stopped the stunt on that side. And then this linebacker decides to fall back and go after the quarterback. And that's how Josh Williams gets so wide open. And it was a really good job by the right side of the offensive line in the center, because if you really watch this, I don't think I have the back end view of this, but if you watch this, these guys are all stunting this way, and they shut the whole thing down. And when they do that, boom, it gives them that wall to run through. And again, that's a really good job by them. And then obviously Josh Williams, one of my favorite guys there. I'm glad to see him still having some success. All right, cover zero. All right, I'm not trying to dog on one of my players at Denham Springs, but we threw an interception on a very similar play this past Friday night, and it is when you have cover zero and you run, they're not running that exact route, but if you get cover zero like this, you know right now, a lot of times something in that back area up there, if it's man, you can exploit that area back there. And you'll see right here, 86, you'll see, it's kind of hard to see right here, but like he comes open in the back corner of that end zone back there, and he just didn't throw it. And if he just lets this go, he's actually running back here into the back of the end zone if you see it from like the all 22 angle. But they have too many guys. I mean, you can sit there and get mad at the O-line all you want. That's called the Uno Mas blitz. You know what I mean? They got one more than we got. And I mean, they got a body on everybody but one. And it's just, they literally, that's why they do it. They have one more. You're hot somewhere. And, obviously that's not what you want to do, but he had a guy running to the back corner. Just trust me on that one. He had a guy running to the back corner. Now this is the end of the half. Okay. They're down 13-3. There's 38 seconds left on the clock. They're down 13-3. You get man coverage. And we were talking earlier, just Stewie and I were just talking before the show started, like, LSU being aggressive on defense. Why aren't they getting – there's a time, too, where if you're playing a team like LSU – so right here, you know when they run the back out and a guy that was in the box runs out with him, it's man coverage. Like, it right now. So all these guys should be just salivating right here. These guys should be going, all right, here we go. We're about to win. Well, yeah, you just run right past them. Remember that throw he had earlier they underthrew? There you go. Now he finally threw it. And that was right before the half. So was that the catalyst? I don't know, because they look like a totally different team in the second half. But you can see, it's almost the exact same look that you had from the other one, just on the other side of the field. And, they got that one. So, going into halftime, again, there you can see it right there, like, just give me a throw, man. And Brian Thomas, I'm not sure what his 40 speed is, but I'm assuming it's pretty good.
Oh, he's a
player. So we're in the third quarter. This was again, underthrown. This was a blown coverage. So this is cover 6. Okay, so they're playing quarters on this side and they're playing 2 on this side. Well, I think what happened was this corner at the top up here thought he was playing cover 2 when they're playing 2 here and they were playing quarters here, because if it's quarters, he would be running with the vertical route here. And you can see here, so this is actually what's called a free play. And if you don't know, do you know what free play is?
Absolutely.
So when the guy jumps off sides, you snap it and everybody goes. And because you don't have anything to lose, you throw an interception. So when he jumps off sides here, you can see Charles Turner snaps the ball, and they're like, okay, we're all just run and goes. And again, it's underthrown a little bit, but watch this catch, man. I mean, that's just that's nuts. But you can see from this angle here, just watch this corner up here. I think he is supposed to keep running with him, and he doesn't. He stopped somewhere back here. That's why he's playing catch up. And dang near made the play. But then obviously a touchdown. So that was 14-11 in the third quarter. So this was right at the beginning of the third quarter. And again, when you can see how he stops right there, it's like, and then he's like, oh nope, I better go. But I mean, the guy almost knocked it out of his hands. So the fact that he caught this ball, and again, it was, kind of underthrown. Now these free plays sometimes, they go deep. Like, so, you maybe you just don't have the arm strength at that point. Now this is a brackets pressure. Okay. So I'm going to talk about brackets just a little bit. So you basically got, oh, sorry about that. My notifications came up on the screen here. So what's going to happen is you've got basically 3/2. There'd be I believe there's another guy right here. See how right there, that got dropped. I'm sorry, that's what it was. So this guy's going to drop, and these guys are here. So they're basically playing 3/2. They got 3 for those 2. Well, what's going to happen is when Malik Neighbors just kind of watch, he kind of walks off the ball, and then then he allows them to go off. Now he's in coverage on Malik Neighbors. I'll take that all day. And then that's how he got so wide open, because it was like almost like a hide play. Like they were hiding him from him. So he's just gonna come off. He's gonna come here, run a corner route, take those 2 guys with him, and then just kind of like come underneath. Boop, there you go. Sometimes it's you take what they give you, and then whatever dance this is now. Is there a name for that one? There's no name for that one. I don't know the name for that one. But you can see right here, it just kind of walks off the ball, and when you see how that route right there took really those 2 guys away from him, and then this guy was dropping off the line. And again, this is Malik Neighbors, who's probably twice as fast as this guy right here. And that was somebody trying to sponsor us, huh? Okay, so looking at now, we're into the fourth quarter. Again, this is a RPO slide. This is kind of something LSU is starting to get known for now, because when people say, man, we need to throw that RPO that has the slide. Well, a slide is what you saw the Arkansas guy do, and they bring him behind the line of scrimmage here. And really it looks like they're going to run this. There's times when he actually blocks, so he'll get lost. And when the tight end comes across, if this guy plays inside here, the guy who's supposed to be covering him, you hold that ball like that and you throw that slide route right there, and that's how these guys are getting so wide open. And really, there's nothing to this. I mean, it literally is just a run play. They're running inside zone, and when he sees that I can do that, because if you watch this in all reality, like watch, he's blocking him. That's not the read key. The read key is this guy. The read key is this linebacker. When this linebacker steps in here, that's when he pulls the ball and runs. So this is a true second level RPO. And they're getting really good at this because they did that last year. I remember against Alabama, they had a play. I don't think it was the play that they beat them on, but it was very similar to that. And then this slot fade, this is just a dime throw. So we've talked about some bad throws, credit where credit's due. So a slot fade. So when you know you've got man coverage, so he's manned on him, he's manned on him. Well, this guy's going to run a fade here from the inside. Why do they do that? It's because it gives you you have more room. So if you're this guy running the fade out here, you already are kind of condensed on the sideline. But if you run a slot fade from the inside, you run here and then you go out this way, it just gives you a little bit extra room to run. And this is just a dime throw. Watch where this ball's caught. I mean, there's drills that quarterbacks do, and they'll put a trash can or a little bucket with a net in it or something, and they'll put it in the corner. And a lot of coaches will say there's a 2x2 box, 2 yard by 2. It's probably not. It's a 2 yard by 2 yard box back there. And that's where, as a receiver, assume the quarterback's going to drop the ball into that 2x2 box. And that's where you're going. When you say you're going for the back cornerback pylon, and that's about as perfect of a back pylon throw as you can get. And you can see the slot fade here. So he runs at him to get him to stop his feet, and then you run by him. And that's what – so right there, you've got him beat. Now, drop that ball. So if that ball would have dropped, I mean, it's dropping probably right there. And I'm not sure you can throw a much better ball than that. And that, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, is a NFL touchdown too. 1, 2, yep. It's an NFL touchdown. Then you can run the defender into the wall as hard as you want. But that was a very well played, obviously to say that play call it's great. Well, it's slot fade versus man. I mean, but the fact that they executed it, I think that's the biggest thing. Now, this is a tied game right now. 5:06 left in the game. They're spot dropping cover 3. And when I say spot dropping cover 3, you'll see where they're all dropping to spots, and they're dropping deep. Nobody's carrying anybody. So when you run past this first level, they kind of drop you. They forget about you once you run past them. And then when you run this guy by, this corner takes off, and there's a big void up there, and you can see right there's a big void because once you ran by him, then he's like, okay, there's nothing else. And that guy tried to chase him. And that's a big play because that got him into field goal range for one. And then this play, so they're really just reading the D gap on this. So they're all running here. Tight end's going to block down. They're reading the first thing outside of the tight end. So what you'll see here is when that guy jumped outside, they didn't block this guy. But watch how long Jaden Daniels rides this mesh. He rides it long enough just for that one arm right there to be an arm tackle, and he breaks it. Now, what's the thing that's always told to running backs in these situations is if it's a read zone, if the quarterback gives it to you, he expects that you'll beat that guy. We expect you beat that guy. He won't give it to you if he doesn't think you can beat him. And right there, breaks past. And again, get the ball down there really low, make them mad. But you can see right here, he jumped outside. But the whole point of it is how long he took riding that mesh to allow this play to happen. Now you got to this point in the game, and I don't have it on here, but I believe they tried to run the ball a few more times instead of just taking a knee. I'm not real sure what the thought process was behind doing that, because you are going to put yourself in a bad situation by handing the ball off. You know what I'm saying? If you can just take a knee, because there's so many things that can go wrong. Yeah. But, hey, they won the game. there's a lot of positives out of this. I think Arkansas is not a bad team,
No,
by any means. And I mean, really, in all reality, they had the game for quite a bit, and then LSU kind of woke up and decided they were going to come back and do what they do. But I think there's the bottom line is this: a lot of the things that were on here weren't schematic problems; they were fundamental problems. They are, just getting your job done, not trying to overcompensate for somebody else. And those are the kind of things that when you start hitting your stride, and those athletes that you're seeing on the field start taking off, that's when you can really see a team I think everybody thought they were going to see. And again, they've lost one game to the number 3 team in the I don't know what Florida State is now, but I'm not making an excuse for that. But there's a chance you might get to play that one again at some point if you do your job, because the last I checked, Alabama's not world beaters by any means. I'm trying to think of anybody that really is, maybe Georgia, but
Texas is good.
Yeah, Texas is hitting their stride too. But there's teams like, everybody knows I'm an Aggie. A&M's got as much talent out there, but they still, have they're up and down. You don't know which team's going to show up, and the same thing with the Mississippi schools, and you still know. And A&M just beat Auburn pretty handily, so I'm not real sure what Auburn is. And if LSU just takes care of business right now, you might get a rematch of that Florida State game. I think everybody would love that. Anyway, but that's what I got for today. Caskey's Clicker back and rolling. Try to go every Monday night at least. We'll get in here and talk and get it moving back in the right direction here.
Well, it was great tonight. Great breakdown of LSU Arkansas. Every week we'll have those breakdowns from Coach Caskey on LSU. We'll look at some NFL on some weeks as well. So come back with us. Make sure you're following Caskey's Clicker on YouTube. You can catch this one here on the Culotta Show, but moving forward, we'll be using Caskey's Clicker YouTube to get this out into the public. So thanks for being here tonight. We'll be back with you next week, a part of Caskey's Clicker, breaking down LSU football.
Hey, Chino, put my headphones up, bro. Right here. Monday through Friday from 7 to 9. Yeah, you see the notification, we about to go live. We got all your favorite guests, we got them in line. It's the Jordy Culotta Show, come have a good time. It's the hottest show around, we ain't got to flex. Call up G